I've got my liner here. These get installed with the vinyl side to the inside of the car, and they have to be cut for clearance around the webbing here. So I'm doing a little mark right here just to get this edge of the vinyl lined up. There we go. That edge of the vinyl lined up with this edge of the webbing. So there's my mark. And then we need to do the same thing. I guess I could do it this way too. Just up here. So there's our mark where we need to cut. And this one's actually a little long. So the bottom edge of this is supposed to line up in that groove right there. And the top edge gets stapled to the wood bow up here. So, you know, this is a little long, probably 1.5 to 2 inches too long. But anyway, no problem. We'll just make sure that we cut all the way down to somewhere in there. So I think that's our line right there. We'll cut both of those, and then we'll use our binder clips to put these in place. So there's that one. Sorry guys, I know you can't see there. There's that one right there. So, yep, that'll work just fine. We've got our 3M 90. Again, this is the high strength, and it will hold up to fairly high temperature. Where the 77, you're kind of taking your chances. And so we're going to squirt down our fabric here just so we get a nice stick. I really don't want to get these binder clips if I can help it. Get it on our webbing here. Pull that down just a hair. Get it on the vinyl. And this last little piece here. There we go. We'll let that set for 10 minutes. We've sprayed everything down and we've let it sit for 10 minutes. Now it's time to glue everything here. So I'm just going to line this up like it's supposed to go. And we're hopefully press this in place from the back side here. Okay. Before I trim anything off, I'm going to come through here and we're going to staple everything down. Our webbing is right there, so here's a look at the hardware we got going. These two longer black pieces here are the, I don't know what you call them, support strips, something like that. And then I saved all the original hardware, and I was missing a few things, so I went to the hardware store. And these are 4mm 7.7 pitch nuts and bolts. But basically we've got 2 that are already in, so the remaining holes, there's 5 holes remaining, so I just needed enough hardware. There's also some short ones and some long ones, so I just went ahead and bought long ones all the way around, so we'll have long ones for everywhere. We're going to skip this hole and this hole because we already have screws under there from when we did the webbing. If you watch that video when we did the adjustments on the top frame. So we'll fill in the rest of these holes here, and you kind of got to pre-punch the fabric because the screws don't want to go through there very easily. Wow, that was a good one. We got a cut basically into this corner here, and again, scary times, but it'll be okay. Helps to have a great pair of scissors. This one's marginal. This pair is marginal. So we're going to fold this over. We're going to staple it up top, and we're going to glue this and stitch it like that so we hold nice and good. Extra added security. We're going to run a few stitches back here. Nothing major, just want to make sure that if anything happens that the fabric's held back. I don't think this glue will fail. Come on now. When you're doing this, make sure you look behind so you don't cut your string that's over here. Just trimming this up flush here. There we go. Let's take a look here real quick. I'm going to step back so you can see where we are on the car. There's the front of the car. This is the padding liner. Right here you'll notice there's an LG with an X, and on the other side I'm going to try and reach and point there. There's an X as well. I'll get to that in just a second. These are the vinyl sections. This one's black vinyl. It faces down. I lined up the rear edge of that vinyl with this edge of this padding, and then I put a centering mark on there, and I lined it up with the center of my catch here. Can you guys see that? There we go. So that's centered up. Then I have my centering mark up here, lined up with the header bow centering mark. Then these just kind of fall where they're going to fall. We've got back in here, I've got one hole here. I need to get a second one drilled in for a rivet here. On the other side I have both of those holes open. This is in the main, what do you call that, the bow attachment. I can't remember the plate, side plate, something like that. Anyway, got to get that drilled out. We're going to rivet it using some 1/8 inch rivets right there. The Clamps back on here, so like I say, just lined this up, centered it, started clamping, got it nice. We have another X with an LG here. I have no idea what LG means, but it goes to the back of the car. So when this sits on, there we go. It's going to sit just inside of our main bow, and we're going to line up our center marks right there, so that's how it'll sit, kind of down in. We'll put another piece of foam over this here in a while. Then again, I'll extend this centering mark up, and we'll line that up right there. I've got my latches unhooked, so the top's just sitting here sort of free right now, and I've stretched everything forward so this vinyl just about hits the end of our recess here, and we're still good back here. We're still lining up with our wood bow coming down the back side. The stitch on this vinyl lines up basically with the top of the foam, so it does that on both sides, and I've gone through and made sure that it's just snappy. Both sides were dead the same, so this sort of got stretched across the front here, and I tacked it. Everything's good, everything fits just right where it should be. So I'm going to glue this here and that there, and that's going to be our first thing that we're going to do, is we're going to bring this up and get it on the foam nice and easy both sides. Smooth. A quick look here. Everything's pretty smooth. There's a couple little teeny weeny wrinkles, but nothing major. I think those will smooth out when the top goes on there. So yeah, that's what we got. Now we're going to come up front and in the back, and we're going to staple this along the header bow here. So we'll staple through everything into that same staple recess that we've been using, and then on the end here we have our two rivet holes, 1, 2, and we'll be using 1/8 inch aluminum rivets on those. Maybe it should have a bigger one, I don't know, but those line up here right on the ends, and that's how we'll do it. Half-inch foam here. I've got it cut just basically rough size, so it's 2 or 3 inches bigger than it needs to be. So I'm going to do a little adhesive here, and then we're going to put it down. This gray foam here did not come with my set, with my padding liner kit, whatever you want to call it. I should be using scissors. This stuff did, and I'm going to use it to sort of fill in the blank here between the two edge pieces. So we'll cut this to width here. Actually, we won't cut it to width. We'll glue it on, then we'll cut it to width. and should be done with the padding, hopefully. The last major piece of foam work I need to do, I'm using some 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch, what do they call this stuff? Just foam tape, weather seal. People use it on camper shells and things like that. It's a higher density foam, and we're going to put this, grab my scissors. My shoe. We're going to put this right here where we meet the top of the window here. Tight seal across the front of this car. So there we go. The last task that we need to accomplish with our padding set before our convertible top arrives is putting the side tension cables on with the springs. So in the kit from House of Ghia for the side tension springs, Michael includes, well, you have to buy the springs separate, but there's the spring. I do have my old springs. You can see they're just a slight bit difference, but they seem like they have about the same power. So there's sort of what Volkswagen did as a stock application for their wire. The wire that Mike sends is a vinyl coated, looks like a stainless or steel wire, and obviously you could put that on after the fact. And then they have these copper ferrules to tighten up, and I found that on the copper ones you can actually use a pair of vice grips, and we'll just do this nice and slow. Maybe I'll get it a little closer to the camera here. The vice grips kind of give you some added leverage that you don't get with just normal pliers, and so we'll squeeze it down like that, and you can see we're all squeezed up there. Then I'll give it one squeeze on one side, and we'll actually lock these in. It'll be pretty tight. Then we'll give it a squeeze on the other side, just like that. And I don't think we're going anywhere there, guys. I have here some cable from some aluminum wire that was going in the trash, and I cut this casing off of the aluminum wire so that I could use it in my wiring harness to do some of the custom stuff. So I just sort of ran my wiring through it, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut off a section of it here, just big enough to cover up our spring, and this is going to prevent it from making noise when it's installed. So spring is in there. We'll put this guy on the spring, maybe. Yep, on the spring. Slide this up. And then we're hooking the spring on the lower hook, because that's the one it goes on. So the hook pointing down is the one you want to use. There's one pointing up, one pointing down, because the part where the spring hooks to was used on both the left and the right side. They're identical, they're just flipped upside down. So we'll put our anti-rattle sleeve over that, so that'll keep it from making noise going down the highway. Our side tension cable here installed. This section of the wire here actually goes into the convertible top, and then we'll cut a hole right here where this hole is. I don't know if you can see that because everything's painted black, but we'll loop this wire like that, and we'll have a screw that goes into there. So this will travel up the inside of the convertible top shell, and then it will screw in here so that when this is closed, everything will be held tight around this window opening. And we'll do it so that there's just a little bit of tension in that spring. So right before it goes closed, it'll be taut, and then when it goes closed, it'll put a little tension on the spring. So these will be just left like this, and that's all that we can do until our convertible top arrives. That was it for the convertible top padding. I hope you've enjoyed this little series so far. Hopefully our convertible top will arrive here in the next couple weeks and we can get it installed. So thanks guys. Don't let your meatloaf.